What is your one piece of advice from what you've learned about going and taking that chance for yourself?
I would say you don't even need the belief in yourself, because that's something that I didn't have for a long time, but I kind of just blocked it out. If there was one piece of advice, it would be a motto like, screw it, let's do it. And Richard Branson's got a book on that, and I found out about that later, but like that is a great motto, like, screw it, let's do it. Who cares what happens? You know what I mean? Like if it doesn't work, it wasn't wasted time because you tested and you figured it out. And if you get some validation, you keep going.
This is Captain Kurt with Captain Capital.
All right, welcome to this week's episode of the Captain Kurt Show. I'm here with one of my good friends, Beau Basinger. We've been connected, 6 months now, probably?
Yeah, it hasn't been that long.
Yeah, and it's really cool when you meet someone that really matches your energy, or, the quality and depth, I think is the right word. So I felt like when we met through Greg, my CFO and partner, he has a lot of depth. So when he introduced me to you, it was like a kind of a match made right in heaven, I would say, So it's been great getting to know you. But Beau does a lot of actually my video content. That's his specialty. We're going to talk about today, like how he got his start in photography, and now it's really come full circle, and he's doing a lot of social media branding for myself and other real estate people, as well as, a wide variety of different businesses. So happy to have you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, man, I'm stoked to be here. When I got the call, anytime I get a call from you, I'm excited.
Yeah, I like to keep it fun. It's something interesting that we're going to do together, right? It's never a boring moment. Whether it's, hey, just come over for a pool party and drink some beers and talk about life and hang with the family, or, hey, let's figure out how to make some social media, make some gold stuff, gold nuggets. So, but let's I want to educate the listeners today on really a lot of social media branding and photography, and why I think everyone needs to be on social media if they have a product or a business. But let's go back to, I know we both grew up in San Diego, it's kind of not that common anymore. I feel like there's a lot of people that either leave because it's too expensive, but I mean, we were fortunate to grow up in a beautiful place. So you grew up in East County, like in Poway, I think?
Yeah, East County, east of the 5 is, now that we both live at the beach.
Yeah.
It's like anything east of the 5 is East County. But growing up in Poway, man, you got like La Mesa, El Cajon and stuff. We always consider that East County. But yeah, man, it's been great. We're very fortunate to live here in San Diego. Everybody always talks about the weather. You said earlier, it's kind of rare these days. Man, when you and I are both networkers, when we meet somebody new, they're like, where are you from? We're like, oh, San Diego. They're like, yeah, but where were you before that? It's like, San Diego is where we grew up. So, we're really blessed. We live in a great area.
Yeah, it's true. Like when I go to a lot of real estate meetups, are kind of primarily the meetups I go to. And it's, even though they're in San Diego, I would say 75% of the people have moved here at some point or another, and they're learning to surf. And I think it's so cool because we grew up surfing since we were little kids. Honestly, I surf less now because I'm a workaholic, but I'm really trying to get back into it,
Is there a favorite place you like to surf?
What's funny is depending on I've had different spots throughout my life based on maybe where I work, where I live, or who I'm surfing with.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Carlsbad, so I surfed Tamarack. I was in Surf PE at Carlsbad High School. It was at Tamarack. Tamarack used to be a really good wave. I used to lifeguard at that beach all along the boardwalk there. And now I feel like the waves aren't as good there because the bottom changed. So now I kind of surf in Oceanside because I live in Oceanside. So I surf the Rock or the Pier. But honestly, I just don't surf enough.
Yeah. Well, you know how it is, man. You're growing multiple businesses, and it's like you squeeze in where you can. It's almost like people look at it as meditative, right? Like there's the movie Point Break where there's Bodie, who's all, he's really deep into it. And so a lot of us find a connection with the water in some way. So it's like, even if you can squeeze it in and just go whatever the closest beach is, Oceanside, right? Yeah, man, you got to get it in where you can. It's like everybody in business needs some kind of a release, if you will.
Yeah, and for me, it's like the gym has been my release. I've kind of always worked out. But then I used to, before I really hustled, I was comfortable in my job as a pilot, making good money. And I literally would go to the gym in the morning, and then if the surf was good, go surfing. And now it's like, I work out earlier and I get right to work. Like I work out at 5:30 to 7 and I start doing business at 7 a.m. And I just don't make time. Like I used to play pickleball. We have a pickleball court in the office. Like my friend Nate is out there right now playing pickleball. He's like, are you jealous? Yes and no. I'm going to shoot a podcast with Beau, hopefully provide the listeners some really valuable things and connect deeper. And then I'm going to a real estate event for 4 days. So a time and, priorities and whatever, but I really want to get back to surfing. Actually, I just signed up to go to Fiji, Tavarua, one of the best waves in the world, really. Best islands I've been to. I've been a couple times.
Yeah.
It has been 6 years. I went 2019 before COVID, and I just been working they closed down in 2020. They couldn't, nobody could go. And honestly, my friends went 2 years ago and I just couldn't make it. I had too much going on. The baby was small. So I said, hey, I have to go on this trip. Told my girlfriend that. I go, are you good? I have to go. I need a trip for me, not a real estate event, not this. I need to just reconnect with myself, and it's surfing. And I want to go surf the best waves in the world. So I booked the trip. It's expensive. A buddy of mine, Chad, is going with me. Super excited to really turn the phone off for a week and just appreciate life again. So
do you remember when you're a kid and grandma or grandpa was like, hey, must be nice being a kid. Enjoy it while you can. We have no perception or no, context of what that means. Then you get older and you're like, oh my gosh, I understand what they meant, and time seems to go by quicker and quicker. And so finding time to have that fun and take some space for you, especially when you're working hard, because it's the days just get so short, right? And so for anybody, it's when you can actually factor in something, not only is it a good mental break, but it's also that carrot at the end of the stick that's actually leading you towards something. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And that's something I saw. A friend of mine bought himself a luxury watch. He wanted one, but he wanted to make himself a goal. It's not about having a flashy. It's hey, I really want this, but I'm going to force myself to get to a goal. And for him, it's a fitness goal, 7% body fat. Very hard to do. Yeah. He ordered the watch because he's on his path and he's very focused. I thought that was kind of cool. So for me, I'm rewarding myself with a trip to Fiji, which is expensive, and it's worth it. So number one, it'll make me surf more because you have to be in shape to go. You can't just show up to surf cloud break and some of the world-class waves out of shape.
Yeah.
And every time I've gone, I've actually been in really good shape, and it's still a tiring thing because if the waves are on fire really good, you're going to surf 7 hours in a day. And so for me, it's forcing me. I'm ordering new surfboards just because why not, right? And so I'm ordering a couple new surfboards, and I'm in the gym more, and I'll start surfing again because you have to get ready. So I think for anyone, whether it's a car, whether it's a vacation, if you force yourself and literally book it out, put it on your calendar, put it on your vision board, make it happen. As we get older, it's something to look forward to, not just an everyday thing. It's hey, I'm going September 11th is my flight out to Fiji. I'm going to grind until then. Do you have a place in mind or a place that you like to go to take a break that you're okay, I'm going to take a break from the grind?
Yeah, man. If it's local, staying in the States, I love my international travel too. But if it's in the States, I'll probably either go to Idaho up in the Sawtooth Mountains, or if it's I want to get out there in a day, I can go drive over to the Eastern Sierras. So places up by Bishop, Big Pine, Lone Pine, all beautiful places just because you got these craggy granite rocks. You can hike up the Alpine Lakes, and some of them are that beautiful turquoise blue, like what you see in all the pictures of Maldives and stuff, right? It's there's some really cool places up there, and I'll go spend a week or two just up in the mountains, going camping, catching fish. And, that's really my big reset right there. I got a trip coming up in 2 months, I do every year.
Cool. And that, it's crazy. Living in California, Southern California, I've never been to Yosemite.
Really?
I've been to Idaho. I love Coeur d'Alene and something like Sandpoint. There's some really cool places up there. It's crazy to say I've never been to Yosemite. So this year, I'm gonna find time to go to Yosemite, whether it's with a friend for 3 days, just to go hike Half Dome or something. I heard it's challenging. Again, I like to just put something on the calendar and make myself go, and don't let anything come in between it, So I think it's really cool. And one of the things when we first met, and I saw you shooting photos with Greg, my friend, I looked at your Instagram and I noticed there are so many really good photos of Yosemite and hiking, I guess. And I love nature. I honestly just don't get out there because I'm still a bit of a workaholic.
Yeah, man, it's tough. That's like the biggest challenge that most people have, right? Is like they get so focused on work and wanting to produce. Like, man, that's one of the things that even America does to people, right? Like, there's this whole mindset, and like with social media and marketing and advertising. I mean, you go to New York City and like look at all the billboards. They're all fashion and everything else, and like it's a certain kind of perception of status, right? And so we get stuck in this routine of just like working hard, and we forget that life is happening right now. And if you don't stop, it's like the Ferris Bueller thing, right? If you don't stop to look around in a while, you'll miss it. That's so true. You know, there's like literally wisdom in that movie. And the big thing is, it's not that we don't have time, it's that we don't make time for it. And that's like, I don't want to call it human nature, because I believe some of it's been pushed upon us through like marketing and, you know, the whole job market and stuff like that. But if you don't make time for it, though, the days are going to go by and you're going to look back and like, where did the year go? It happens to everybody in the new year. Like, what happened this year? And so the biggest thing is just like you were talking about, you going to Fiji, man. I think that's a great carrot on the stick, because that's going to be an epic trip. You love surfing. It's in line with what you value. And it's also a big incentive for you to work hard until then. And then you're like, okay, when I get here, I can decompress, turn the phone off, maybe capture a couple quick stories or whatever, and be like, hey, just something to document and like remember it by. But yeah, man, you really got to make time for that kind of stuff. And that's what I've always loved to do.
Yeah, and I think like, especially after becoming a dad, I think I always wanted to be a father. But before I was a father, I literally worked a bunch. I fly airplanes as a, part-time job, and besides invest in real estate. But I flew like 12 out of 13 days, and I could take the rest of the month off. I was satisfied with making a decent amount of money. I owned a home. I had a rental property. But here I was, this single guy, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm pretty set. I'm good. Even though I knew I wanted more out of life, but man, I traveled the world surfing. Like, I wasn't in hustle mode, no joke, until about my son was born. It's different when you have to provide and you want to provide. And I wanted to be taking my kid to Fiji. Eventually they will, and things changed for me after becoming a father. And I think people have different points maybe in their life, whether it's through tragedy or divorce or something like that, where something shifts. And for me, it was becoming a father. And I do not travel and surf the world since I've had a kid. Now, I take them on vacation. We've been to Maui in January, went to Cabo in March. We are planning a Loretto trip in June. Like, nice. It's so fun to have those trips with kids. And my buddies will ask, hey, did you go surfing when you were in Maui? Did you surf when you were in Cabo? No. Like, I hung out with my kids in the pool and we built sandcastles. So it's still fun. But I'm like, okay, this year I really need like my own trip to just go surf. Yeah. And I will miss my kids that 9-day trip. But it's like, I think it's good for me to reset.
Well, I know you're really close with your dad. Did you always know that you were going to be a father? Or did you want to be a father?
Yeah. So when I grew up, my parents had me young. So my dad was 20. And so we're real close. He had a lot of energy. My little sister was born when I was 12. And my dad worked hard. My mom worked hard. So honestly, I helped raise my sister as like a 12 or 13-year-old kid. And they'll tell you, it's like, I grew up a little bit quicker because I had more responsibility. Like, I learned how to cook like basic meals. But it honestly was like kind of great. I wouldn't change it. So I didn't have a huge social life. I was an athlete and I like did good in school. I could have done better, but did really good in school. Yeah. And then I like helped raise my brothers and sisters. So I grew up quick. So yeah, I always wanted to be a dad, even from like my early ages. It took longer than I thought after going through a divorce and things. And honestly, I'm glad I didn't get divorced with kids, because I have friends that have that and it's harder. So I'm glad they came later. And I tell people, or I tell my dad especially, since I had my first son at 39, I had less energy than a 20-year-old dad, but I did have more money and more stability. So it's like a trade-off. And what's really cool is my dad is now 65 and he's really involved with the kids. And my oldest son is 4 and he just loves my dad. And my dad acts like a 20-year-old with him. So it's very cool to see. Yeah.
Was that a tough adjustment though? Because being in Southern California, right? we are very chill, go surfing, great weather. Like there's always something to do, right? Was it tough making that transition when you found out that you're going to be a father? Because for some people, there's stories out there, right, where people grow up in, unfortunate environments and stuff. And but for you, as long as I've known you, sure, it's been 6 months, but the level of things we've done has been really cool. Like we got to connect on a bunch of different levels. We talk all the time. Was it tough to go from I'm a free surfer, just doing what I want, to being, hey, yo, I got 2 kids now. I need to be focused and dialed in on these aspects and not traveling as much. But if I am traveling, it's all for them. Like, was that a tough transition?
That's a great question. And I think when someone becomes a father, it's what path are you going to take? And what I mean by that is, are you going to be selfish and are you doing golf trips every weekend with your boys or whatever your hobby might be? Or do you pour into your family? So for me, it was not a hard transition. But what I've realized, I do work hard. They sacrifice for that, but I have a short to long-term plan. So I'm hoping that I don't have to fly anymore in 3 years. I'll be 46 years old, could retire if I want. And by retire, I'll never retire. I like being productive, but I won't have to travel these trips to go to work, And so I'm building something for them. Like right now, I'll tell you. So it wasn't a hard transition, but it was an adjustment. I just didn't go on surf trips. I didn't go to Nicaragua. I didn't go to Hawaii with the buddies. I haven't gone to Fiji. Because when I'm gone and traveling for work or real estate, when I'm home, I want to be with the family.
Yeah, I see that.
And I think it's great though as a father. So am I a good father? I think so. But I'm also missing some things. But I think, the family has to realize like some sacrifice is needed. And also my kid, I got home from the gym this morning before coming here and we had a great little morning with them. And I'm like, hey, sorry, I got to shower and go. I got to do this. I'll see you in 3 days because I'm leaving on a real estate event.
Yeah.
But he understands it. And one cool thing that I'm really excited about, we're about to break ground on our first industrial project in Houston. When the building is up and a little further along, I'm going to actually fly him, just me and him, out to Houston. I'm going to get him a hard hat with his name on it and literally go take him and talk, because he's old enough at 4. He's smart.
Yeah.
And show him, like, he knows. Dad builds buildings. But I want to take him there and, like, take some photos and remember it. I think that'll be something special. My dad wasn't in real estate, but I got to go fly in airplanes.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I can't wait to take my kid in an airplane soon. I actually got to once. He was like 2.5. We have a good little video out, and he remembers it. And what's crazy is, last week he asked me, Dad, I would like to go to work with you. And I'm like, you mean in the private jet that I fly for a billionaire? And I thought about it. I'm like, well, actually, I think one client might do that. He has a 5-year-old kid, and they go to Hawaii sometimes.
Yeah.
And I've been flying for him for 3 years. He likes me. We have a good relationship, more than just a work relationship. So I'm probably going to ask him, like, hey, would you mind? Like, he's not going to be like, hey, you're not working for him anymore. That's not a line. So I'm actually going to ask one time, like, hey, if we're going to Hawaii and you're bringing your kid, like, do you mind if I bring my son or the family? And he'll probably say yes.
That's experience. That's priceless experience, right? So you can probably think back to a time when you were a kid, and once you grow up and you're an adult and you have like more experiences, you look back and like, oh man, remember when we used to go to like summer camp with my dad, or we do this and that. And it's like, you look back when you're older and you can appreciate it. Right. And you're like, that was an incredible time. Like, I wouldn't trade that for anything. Right. Yeah. He's going to get that experience. And that's cool that you're thinking that way, because when I realized that I want to be a dad, I thought about, when you're like in history school or in history books, and it's like, oh, we're talking about Egypt and the pyramids. The same way that you're building for your family, I want to do with mine, and be like, hey, you're learning about Egypt in school right now. Why don't we go take a trip to Egypt? And you can not read it from a book, but you can go experience it. Go meet the culture, go meet the people, go hang and dine with the locals, And that's a good reason to build this freedom, like what you're talking about, because now it's like nothing's off the table, right?
Yeah, and I agree. So traveling, right? I met this family in Hawaii. I was body surfing Pipeline on a small day. It's really beautiful out when I used to go there a lot.
Yeah.
I met this family. This guy ended up being a agriculture pilot, like a crop duster, which is kind of crazy flying. And they were from Europe. And this is their story. It's him, his wife, and 2 kids, like an 8-year-old girl and a 10-year-old boy. We're just kind of frolicking in the warm water. And it's like, hey, how's it going? And they're from Europe. The guy's brother had died at like 45, right? Had a heart attack. He didn't have a family, so he left his brother, whatever. He told me it was like 150 grand or, whatever he had.
Yeah.
They could have either paid off their mortgage, or what they did was they pulled the kids out of school and went on a trip around the world for over a year.
Wow.
And they started in Europe. They went to New York. So they were in Hawaii at the time. The next stop was like Fiji, then Australia. He told me all this. And they put the kids on a budget and each stop. And he goes, sometimes we'll get a nice hotel, and then sometimes it's a hostel. But we have a budget, and we are experiencing. They went to Vegas. Anyways, they're like, yeah, we're here in Hawaii for a week because it's just so great.
Yeah.
I thought that, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to do that with my family. Like, I don't know if I want to go around the world or if it's different, like a month. Like for my 50th birthday in just over 6 years, I'm taking the whole family, including mom, sister, hope, whoever needs to go. And it'll be an open invite, but we're going to Europe for like 6 weeks, the whole summer, maybe 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Like I just got back from Spain and it was beautiful. And I'm like, okay, I want the family to come to this city.
Yeah.
And it's just different, and I kind of saved Europe for when I was older. So I think it's really cool as an entrepreneur. The hustle life is one thing, but you do have to find the balance. And honestly, the balance is very hard to find. But my balance is work and then family. So the gym is my one thing because health matters for the family, especially as we get older. So I, hired a longevity doctor that this year, getting my blood tested, and I love all of those things, and it's helping the business. But
yeah, Dr. Adam did my blood work too. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And yours is a lot better than mine. Mine's, it's just different. That's the thing is like why I hired Dr. Adam is he goes, hey, you want to test your blood because of hereditary reasons, number one, but everyone's body's different. Yeah. So what I like about it, he goes, you have whatever type of blood, so you actually need more protein than most people. Whereas he can tell you, hey, you're this blood type, you actually need more fat in your diet. So I think it's very interesting and he actually changed up my workouts.
Really?
I love lifting weights, and I'm not a huge cardio guy. And if I do cardio, I'm walking incline, and it's surfing or it's pickleball. And honestly, I'm not following completely what he wanted me to do, but he did say I kind of only lift weights every other day now. He goes, hey, so weights every other day, but go hard. So then the day in the middle, I want you walking or swimming or something, which I kind of do because I walk every day, but I just don't hit the weights as hard. And honestly, it gives my body more time to recover.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah.
So it's just been different. Like I've been lifting weights for like 25 years, not consistently, but pretty consistent.
Yeah. It's been a part of your protocol. Like it's
100%.
It's part of your lifestyle, right?
Yeah. COVID got thrown off when gyms all got closed. So I started hiking but it's pretty cool because health is something, being a parent, you want to be around for your kids.
Well, so many people sacrifice it, man. And it doesn't matter where you're at in the world. Actually, I would say it does because some countries, man, people they take their health serious and stuff like that, but they don't stress over it. But I think the biggest thing I'm trying to say is that people will sacrifice their health for wealth when they don't do it together. You know what I mean? Because how long does it take to work out? 30, 60 minutes to even maintain your health, right? And then it's also in the kitchen. But man, so many people just work, and then they start having all these big health problems and stuff like that. And then you feel like garbage every day. It's like, it's not really a fun way to do it, but sacrifice more than anybody I know, right? It's like what you do for your family and how hard you work. You still find a way to get it in. Like I see your videos, man. You're like in the gym before I'm even awake, and you're traveling because you travel a ton, man. Being a pilot and all the cool opportunities you have, but man, you're always getting it in.
Yeah, and it's ever since I've had kids, I'm more the early morning guy. I used to always kind of work out like 7 or 8, and since having kids, they get up about 7:45 for school or whatever, and I go, well, that's when my workday starts now. So now my alarm's 5:15 this morning, even though I got home at 10 p.m. It's my non-negotiable.
Yeah.
If the gym is crappy in a hotel and I didn't sleep well, I'll walk on the treadmill at least 30 minutes. But the gym is my new non-negotiable. Yeah. And it just changes when your habits will change when you want them to. And I want to be very productive. I want to have good energy. I'm drinking way less. I like drinking. People used to know me as the party guy or at least like the life of the party. And now it's like, I'm probably a little bit more boring, and I'm okay with that. Like friends say that.
You bring the personality, man.
Exactly. My personality hasn't changed. I'm just not. But guess what? I don't have hangovers. I get up at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
I can have 2 beers at a barbecue, and I'm good with that. I don't.
Yeah.
So things change, but.
Well, being in Southern California too, man, there's this laid back culture here, where we got such good weather year round. People want to go out. They want to go to the local bars. They want the rooftop views. They want to be by the beach, And yeah, man, it's really easy to get caught up in that kind of lifestyle where you just like flow through. And, you go out and have drinks with everybody that gives you a call that weekend or through the week, you know what I mean? And it's hard to break through. But for you, that's more of like a responsibility and kind of a standard, I would say,
Yeah, and I agree with you because even growing up, when I had a good job and everything, before I was really trying to build a business and a brand and everything else, like I would go out way more. I'd go to Taco Tuesday with friends or this and that, and I just don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
it's not that I won't. I'm taking the family out, and I'm just skipping the alcohol and having dinner. The couple times if I do go out, it's like Sunday after T-ball. You've been there like twice.
Yeah.
That's the most beers I've had, and it's like 4 beers, and I'm feeling like, okay, it's time to go home. That's enough,
Cheap date.
Cheap day, but it's like it is sunny, and you can get caught up for years. Like I have a lot of friends; they're all good people. They got good jobs. You just get into a nice groove, or you work your 10 or 15 days a month. You make good money, and then you're just chilling at the beach. I used to go to the beach all the time at noon on my day off.
Yeah.
I hardly go to the beach, and I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm hoping to implement that more now this summer. But you're right. If you grow up in San Diego, you pretty much hope most of the people surf. You do some kind of outdoor activity because the weather's really good.
Yeah.
And you kind of just fall into
complacency.
Yeah, that's probably a great word for it.
Yeah.
And how about for you? When did you kind of turn the switch to go from because I know for a while you were a photographer, you were working for other companies, traveling a lot as well.
Yeah.
Right. And doing their media.
Yeah.
So take us back to where you got your start in photography. How about that?
Yeah, I was doing event marketing. There was a year, man, where I spent 56 days in Hilton properties alone. I was literally nonstop all around the country, and it was great. But I was doing event marketing at that age. It was fantastic. I stopped in 2018, and that year I bought a camera after I took my mom on a trip to Iceland. It was my way of saying thank you for raising 4 boys on your own. And I came back with a bunch of terrible photos, and I was like, this sucks. I want to share this cool country with people. And so I insert the idea to buy a camera, bought a camera, took a solo backpacking trip through Southeast Asia for a few months that year too. And I really enjoyed it. I felt like I was like a photojournalist, right, for Nat Geo. And sure enough, COVID hit me like it hit everybody. My event marketing space got shut down. And I started everybody was going camping, right? You talked about camping as well. And I realized that, hey, if I'm going to do anything with my photography, I'm going to do it now. Might as well take a shot. So I sent my photos to a couple outdoor camping brands. I was like, hey, would love to take shots for your products. They were like hammocks and these bear canisters to keep your food away from the bears and stuff. They're like, hey, we love your photos. We'd like to work with you. And that was all the confidence I needed. Just like any validation that any of us get. If there's somebody that's recognizes it and gives us some kind of vote of confidence, we're like, oh, sweet, maybe I can do this, right? And so that was the year that everything switched. I was like, you know what? I don't want to be traveling as much. And it's ironic because I still do travel a lot, right? And I love it. But not being on somebody else's time for, 10 months out of the year, that was way too much. And so at that point, I was like, you know what? If not this, then what? Kind of where a lot of us get at a certain point where you're working a job maybe, and you're like, this is cool, but is there something else there for me, right? And that was just my moment. I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to have a job after COVID's over, right? Whenever that is. So this is something that I love to do. Let's just give this a shot. And sure enough, you start putting in the work and you start getting more people wanting to work with you. And then every step in front of the other. And it was kind of a slow process in the grand scheme of things. You figure one thing out at a time. But that year I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. And that's when it all switched for me.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. And it sounds like, I think your photos are great, especially your traveling photos. You have an eye for the camera, and that's an art itself, right?
Yeah.
I am not any good with any musical instrument. I am not good at drawing anything more than stick figures. My dad's good at it, but like you, probably not as good. I have an eye for kind of crafting a photo and an angle. And I used to take a lot of photos actually on my surf trips. I brought all this camera gear. I have great drone photos. Then I realized it's a lot of work. And I honestly was hardly in any of the photos.
Yeah.
So when I started making more money and traveling, I'm like, wait, I want to pay people to take photos of me.
For sure.
And especially as now I'm building a brand and a business, is like I have a couple different people in different states where we're doing different building. And it's like, cool, I'm capturing stuff now. But I'm like, ooh, I don't really remember. I still have all my camera gear.
Yeah.
But it's an art form. It really is. Lighting and angles and
the technicalities of it.
It really is. And anybody could be, I think, a hobby photographer, but they might come back from an Iceland trip going, crap, these photos aren't any good.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's how you start.
Yeah.
What I really take away from that story that I like is that you took some photos on a trip and you went after it and you sent them to some companies and said, here's some photos. I would like to work with you.
Yeah.
That's taking a leap of faith and going, I'm going to take a chance on myself. And it doesn't even take that much work. It just takes commitment and go ahead and start sending emails and don't be worried about getting rejected.
That's what I was going to say, man. You hit it on the head. It's like, you can't be afraid of rejection. We all fear it. Right? I mean, like, we all have that feeling that we're like, oh, what if they say no? Dude, that's a part of it, man. But you got to take action anyway. Like, I remember I was sitting down just like this during COVID. Excuse me. I was with my stepfather and love him to death. He's like my dad, right? And we were hanging out. And I was talking to him when I first got my first validation of, hey, we'd like to work with you. And I was like, man, I feel like I got lucky. Like, I don't feel like I should have success, or at least people wanting to work with me this early. Like, I've only been shooting for 2 years. And he's like, you know what I know about you, Beau? Is like, when a door opens, you're really good at walking through that door. And that one has always stuck with me because I felt like I got lucky, but I just say yes to opportunity all the time. And I think for a lot of people, man, whether they are working a W-2 job right now and they want to pursue something on the side because, you know, maybe they want to have a side hustle and then transition that into their full-time thing. Or maybe they have a hobby that they would love to make money from or build a community around people that like to go hiking. Whatever it is, you got to take the first step no matter what and like just explore it, you know, because the biggest thing that keeps people back is probably going to be fear of rejection or, you know, fear of somebody that they like, love, and respect to judge them for it. And you kind of just got to say, like, screw it. Like, I'm going to do this for me, right? And go after it, just like what you've done with everything you're doing, man. It's like you could have been an airline pilot forever, right? And just left it at that. There's nothing wrong with it. Great career. Go still explore and bring the family along. But you're like, man, there's something more for me. I want to do something that is for the pilot community, right? For Cockpit Connect, right? The conference that we did. It's like, if you never did something to put that idea into action, it never would be what it is today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I agree with you. And I think it's taking a chance on yourself, I think, is a big deal. I think a lot of people probably either are debating on doing it or wanting to do it. Yeah. I didn't want to live with regret, you know, saying, okay, well, I have a great job, but I have this idea and I believe in myself. I think there's probably a lot of people listening to this going, man, I really would like to try this.
Yeah.
What is your one piece of advice, if you could offer that to the listeners today? What is your one piece of advice from what you've learned about going and taking that chance for yourself?
Yeah, I would say you don't even need the belief in yourself, because that's something that I didn't have for a long time, but I kind of just blocked it out. So really, if there was one piece of advice, it would be a motto like, screw it, let's do it. And Richard Branson's got a book on that. And I found out about that later, but like, that is a great motto, like, screw it, let's do it. Who cares what happens? You know what I mean? Like, if it doesn't work, it wasn't wasted time because you tested and you figured it out. And if you get some validation, you keep going.
Yep. And you know, it's funny. I flew for Virgin America, a former airline that Richard Branson owned. He named the airplanes, right? There were 70 airplanes we owned. One of them was, screw it, let's do it.
Really?
It's under the pilot. Like, I think I even have a photo. There's some funny ones.
Yeah.
But that's one of them. Screw it, let's do it.
It's a great motto.
And I totally agree with you. And I think people should take a chance on themselves. And I'm not saying, hey, you should quit your job and go all in and risk all this, but hey, do that on your weekends or after hours. Like you can work your job 9 to 5 if that's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, take a chance on yourself from 5 to 9 and then 5 to 9 at night.
Right.
Like that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I still am doing it because the flying brings me income to pay for this podcast studio, to pay for my office, to pay the mortgage and all the other thing. Now, what I do with that income that I make is I invest it all into the business. And I'm taking a chance on myself. But now I've been in it for 5 to 10 years now, really. It's worth it.
Yeah.
You know, and even after losses, you still learn. And it's like, I feel like for me, I'm about to just break through the roof.
Yeah.
I'm so close to it after winning and losing. I've had a lot of wins, had a big loss. And then you just figure out, you know what? I haven't lost everything. I got my health. I still got my job. I got all this. Let's just rebuild and keep going.
Imagine if people thought, just like you said, you're about to have a breakthrough. Imagine if everybody thought like that, where things are tough and they're like, man, there's something coming right around the corner. I know it's coming. It's right around the corner. I'm so close. And any day now, like this is going to happen, right? That would literally change the way people go into the world. And yes, things get tough for everybody. There's no avoiding it. Some things just happen, right? And that's okay. But man, for people, like one of the best things that I ever did when I was younger. So I went through my tough time, right? Like SoCal kid, punk skater kid, surfer, just messed around, wasted a lot of time when I was younger. And the biggest adjustment that I made was my attitude. The way that I thought about things, the way I thought about experiences, the way that I perceived how things were happening. Once I adopted a good attitude, man, that was really one of the bigger times. Earlier, you asked me what's one thing that really changed for me. What I said was for my photography career. But man, my life changed when I changed my attitude and just getting along with people more, taking a different interest in them. You know, there was no bad experiences, just experiences. Everything changed when that happened. And that was like one of the best things that could have ever happened at any stage of my life.
Yeah, I agree. So mindset's a big deal. And people talk about it. You hear about it. And like when I started learning about it, I'm like, what is this mindset thing? I've always been a positive person.
Yeah.
But I felt like you, I did the same as you in San Diego, man. I would go surfing instead of go to college. So it took me forever to kind of figure it out. I don't know if I'm a late bloomer or what, but it's like all those hard experiences of skipping school and then going, wow, why am I still in college? Well, then I finally got serious, you know, but that's all learning curves. But mindset's a big deal, right? And I don't study it, but let's say I used to. But I do focus on being positive, even in the downturn, even in the hard times. You can kind of take a step back and go, man, this sucks. But now I find myself, okay, how do we fix it?
Yeah.
Like my outlet is the gym, and I honestly don't really get that angry anymore. And when I get a phone call like, hey, the bank just denied your loan after working on it for 12 months. This is a problem. Holy crap.
Big problem.
I go, okay, let's stop. What do we do now? Like, it's not dwell on it for a week. What is the problem? So I feel like successful business people remove some of the emotions. And honestly, that is also what I've learned to do, not just mindset. The mindset is for every problem, there's a solution. How do you get there quicker? Remove some of the emotion out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying remove the emotion out of yourself because I have a lot of emotions. You do. That's how we connect because we actually care about people. You know, I put people first, people before profits. That's my business motto.
Yes. Yeah.
Because that will lead to bigger things. Partnerships and relationships are what life's about.
Yeah.
But as you said, mindset, and you believe in yourself after you kind of build some confidence and you get some results. People compliment you.
Yeah.
And even starting this podcast, like I got a lot of really great compliments from friends or old friends. And that's like, wow, okay, cool. I'm glad I'm doing this because people are getting something out of it.
Yeah.
And I think also with the mindset and like you were talking about earlier, I think it's like something I learned is ask more than you talk. I'm a talker. I used to talk a lot. People would tell you that. Now I get into a room, I want to listen.
Yeah.
It changes everything. You can talk but make sure you're listening twice as much.
A lot of people, I've heard it said somewhere where people are just waiting for their turn. You know what I mean? And it's like very reactive, not even responsive. Like there is a difference, right? But listening to understand, because then what you say next is going to be really more tailored towards them and the whole scenario, which is like what's happening in the conversation, right? Where, there's so many situations where, like, if you go out to a bar or something like that, right, and people are just chatting about whatever, and it's like bouncing around like a pinball. It's like, man, when you actually talk and listen, you get to understand who you're with more. It's like being a doctor going and you're like, hey, so what's going on? What are your symptoms? What have you tried? What's your history? What's all that? They don't just be like, oh, you got a headache? Okay, cool. You got cancer. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, we need to figure out everything going on. So like, yeah, when you're in a conversation, to understand the person you're with, ask more questions.
Yeah, I think it's a big thing for me. And I think it depends on the room you're in, right? And I find myself, I want to be in the bigger rooms. And what I mean by that is not necessarily bigger amount of people, just higher quality or people that are ahead of me.
Yeah.
Like this week, I'm leaving after this to go on a flight to go to an event that I pay a lot of money per year to be in. And I feel like everyone's ahead of me.
Yeah.
And that's okay. So guess what? I'm going to listen.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, hey, here's my problems. My business is small. You guys are 10 steps ahead. Yeah. Give me a couple pointers on how to get there. So I'm going to listen.
Yeah.
I'm going to learn more. I'm going to make some connections, and I'm going to learn. And those are the rooms you want to be in, where when I mentor pilots, it's a good thing for the soul. I'm kind of the expert there, so I'll listen, but I have more advice to give them because you could say I'm at the top of that career field.
Yeah.
And it's great. And they can implement what I say. But when I'm in a real estate room, I still have a lot of good experience, but depending on the room, where if I go into a real estate room and I'm the top, that's not a room I want to be in.
Yeah.
I want to be in the bottom or the middle where I want to support people, and maybe I can support people on personality, raising capital. Like I can tell people how to do that, but hey, how do you scale your business from 5 million a year to 100 million? I need to be in that room. That's what I'm paying to do.
Yeah.
So what kind of rooms as a photographer or communities have you been in one where you can learn a lot and are those valuable in the social media or the photography world?
Yeah. I mean, that's the cool thing is like there's mentors everywhere, right? For your business, man, being in those rooms is one of the most important things that's going to help, besides your discipline, right? For you and your ambition, that's like the next thing that can actually help you get from here to over here, right? Now, for photography, like there's tons of people selling courses online. I made a photography course, right? How to help people actually work with big name brands, because I've been able to work with some cool ones in the start of my career, and that's not the business anymore. But, there's a lot of opportunities to actually get mentorship. I have a coach right now. He's helping me with systems, because as things are growing, you and I both know this, we've talked about this a lot, is, man, there's so much to do at any given time, and you can't be the person to do it all yourself. So I'm getting coaching one-on-one with somebody that I found way back in 2018 when I got my first camera. I YouTubed him, and he was like, oh, this guy's got it down, and he crushes. But there's always mentorship available, and anybody that wants to get to the next level should be working with a mentor or a community or a group. It's like all the people in your pilot community. If I've seen the amount of information you give them, like, it's crazy. It's a whole new world for me. I had no idea that even existed, right? I thought pilots just worked for a big airline and that was about it. But man, like the community aspect is often overlooked. And unfortunately on social media, there's a ton of people, tons of people selling something, selling some kind of a course, selling some kind of an offer. So you kind of got to go through them. And fortunately, a lot of them aren't that expensive. And then, you spend some money on that, and then you're like, oh, this wasn't what I was looking for. What's next, though? How do I find something better? And it's like the whole idea of like one step in front of the other, right? And so for you, spending all the money on the real estate mentorship, like I would be very comfortable spending $20,000 a year. Actually, I do on my mentorship, right? And it's because without that kind of coaching and guidance, you are going to be wasting so much time trying to figure it out on your own, making mistakes that are probably going to cost more than that mentorship would be. And so I think it's worth it 100%.
Yeah, I think of mentorship or coaching, as a shortcut.
Yeah.
I can either bang my head for the next 3 years, or I can pay to be in, or longer, and maybe never figure it out. But I'm a type of person that figures it out. But I would rather pay to be in a bigger room that I want to be in than go to these free meetups that you're lucky if you meet a good connection or not. But Instead, I'm going to go to a room with 200 people that are all doing really well.
Yeah.
And I believe that coaching and mentorship are shortcuts. Now, the biggest thing is the person has to implement. So when I go to this quarterly meeting this week, I'm going to receive info because I'm going to listen, and I have to implement. It's up to me. So I can't say, hey, this group isn't that great. It's you go there, you pay a lot of money, you bet I'm serious. I'm going to implement as quick as I can.
Yeah.
And then come the next quarterly meeting in September, then what's great about the group too is it's accountability. So they're going to ask you, what have you done since the last quarterly meeting that we discussed? And then it better be, I implemented this, I did this, I changed this. And now here's now what I want to do. So that's why they do quarterly meetings.
The cool thing about these groups too, man, is you're not going to go there and meet somebody that's going to judge you for where you're at. You know, the best thing is like a lot of them are at another 1, 2, 3, 10 levels above where we're at currently. That's what we're paying for. But they're not going to be, oh, that's cute. Kurt's down there figuring it all out as a new guy working with this space or something. It's like they don't judge you for that. Whereas if you have a group like some of our friends in high school or whatever, love them all to death, right? But not everybody's on the same trajectory as us. They don't have the same mission, right? They don't have the same drive or ambition. But the biggest thing is like you're also getting support and belief from all these people that we're spending $20,000 a year on, right?
Yeah. And I think it's the difference between a free group and community, or free meetup, or a paid event that costs a lot of money.
Exactly.
People are serious there. And like you said, this is my first quarterly meeting with this group. And so far, everything online has been great. Like Zoom calls and everything. And like I learn a lot. You can ask questions. So mentorship's great. Let's get back into what changed for you, or at what point did you change from shooting photography for traveling for companies into doing what you're doing now, which really is managing social media, helping people deliver a clear message, which I think is key. When I started content, my message wasn't clear. I kind of was shooting cool stuff that got views, and that's exciting, but I wasn't as clear where I wanted it to go. So I'll tell you right now, I've like shifted my vision to where I want it to go. I'm getting less views. That's okay, because those are the people I want to connect with, right?
Yes.
So what was your shift, and when did it shift to go, hey, I actually want to work with people and businesses to grow their brand instead of shooting photos for a product?
Yeah. Part of that came from working with my my coach. And so I was talking to him because he's done filmmaking, he's done YouTube. He was like first 200 to make or have 1 million subscribers on YouTube, like crushed it. Really good note. And so I was talking, I was like, hey man, like I really want to work with big name brands, you know, like on a larger scale, on bigger campaigns and stuff. And he's like, why do you want to do that? He's asking me the questions. He's listening. He's like, tell me why you want to do that. Like, let me hear your methodology and your thought process. And then he had never seen my Instagram. He's like, oh dude, you got some great work. I can see why you want to go there, but let me tell you why you shouldn't. Because a lot of his friends are big creators too. And he's like, man, like they are broke. They are literally waiting for the next campaign. They do a good project, but then they're off for 6 months and stuff. And he's like, so it's not a great business model. And so for me, I've always wanted to feel like what I was doing mattered, and just taking cool photos is neat, I guess. But the bigger thing is like, how do I actually serve somebody, right? How do you actually do something that's going to serve a purpose versus just grabbing some neat photos? Because anybody can do that. You can go pay a kid in high school to do that and you'll get some cool photos. And so we realized that it's really about strategy, right? It's marketing. It's why companies put big billboards in New York City with, you know, the certain look and the certain fashion, like going into Fashion Week. It's like there's a strategy involved and there's an intent with it, right? So that was, you know, when I first started working with my coach a couple of years ago. And man, it was the best move I could have made. Because now every day when I work or I talk to you on the phone or anybody else that's like a client, it's like, hey, what problem are we solving? This is where we're going. It gives you more purpose and more meaning behind the work versus just, hey, I can take cool photos and I can edit them really neat, you know?
And I think one thing for me, even working with you, and that I've really learned compared to what I used to shoot, I'll tell you this, sometimes I just come up with an idea and it goes viral in my case. And it's like, wow, I do have some good ideas in my head, but I think working with someone like you helps. What I liked about you asked the questions to get a clear path of what kind of content, what's the end result of my content. And I'm like, well, I want to educate people on why they should invest in real estate, how it can change your life, not necessarily like, hey, check out this private jet, costs this much money in fuel to go to New York. That went viral. It was my first video ever.
Yeah.
It's cool that it went viral, but how's that going to do any benefit to my life? It's entertaining, right?
Yeah.
That's an entertainment video. Cool. I don't mind posting once in a while. It doesn't really do anything for my business or my life or add value, right?
It's new eyes, but yeah, there's like, there's like there's really a lot of different types of content, but the most important are entertainment. There's also educational, and then there's also going to be some of the other ones that are more important.
Yeah. And it's, you're right. And so I'm doing less entertainment. It's fun to like have my personality.
Yeah.
But I really am trying to do educational and inspirational content.
Yeah.
Right. And it's who I am now though. I used to be the funny guy in the life of the party. I'm still that guy.
Yeah.
But really the entertaining stuff. And like we posted a video the other day that made some people laugh. And then I got one comment like, hey, if you want to be taken seriously, like, don't waste your time doing that stuff. And I go, I'll humbly accept that critique. Like,
Yeah.
he
It's
goes,
feedback.
dude, you're like flying private jets for billionaires and you're putting out real estate motivational content. Like, the funny stuff doesn't really work for you. And I go, I'll think about that. And then I talk to somebody else and they're like, no, dude, that's your personality. It's funny. And I'm like, but I could see where an outsider that actually has never met me who shoots content. I was like, I'll take that into consideration.
You got to test it out though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you don't test things, you're never going to get any kind of feedback from other people and like who the audience is, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you can't be afraid to test it. If anything, you can archive it.
Yeah,
No
that's a
big
good
deal.
point.
Then it goes. Or even like 10 posts later, it's all the way down the grid and people
Yeah.
probably aren't going to notice it. So like it's okay for anybody starting out. They should just be doing something.
Yeah. Now, if you could leave the listeners with one piece of advice on creating content, why do you think an individual or a business should be creating content this day and age?
Everybody's on social media. And if you are not on social media, how else are you going to be gaining traction or gaining eyes on your product or your service? If you are just some person, let me actually say it this way. Building a brand on social media is basically building your reputation. The reason reputations are important is because it's what people know you for. And so if they don't, another way to say it is, it's not who you know, it's who knows you.
I love that term. It's completely true. And I watch a lot. I take in a lot of content from people doing more than me.
Yeah.
They have a bigger business or they're in the same industry that I'm in. I'm watching the competition. And I think if you put out either if you're a comedian or it's entertaining, maybe you're not selling something, but you are building a brand and you're getting brand deals out of that because you're funny.
Yeah.
Right. Or maybe you're a podcast host and you're getting a brand deal that way for marketing. Like, look at Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
That guy's a comedian. Basically, I think he's funny.
Yeah.
Whether you love or hate him, that guy has built a brand on entertainment. Then he was a UFC commentator and he's got one of the best podcasts in the world.
Yeah.
And look at his brand. I mean, President Trump goes on there. Elon, like people you do or don't like, he talks to everybody. He can literally send an email or make a phone call and get anyone on his podcast and get paid a lot of money to do so.
And
that's a brand.
And he's authentic. He's not putting on a facade, not putting on a mask. Like he's himself. And so if people don't like that, great. They're not going to be a part of what he's doing. But there's tons of people that love him for him and respect him for him and what he's doing, where he is like, he's consistent.
So a big piece of your advice would be yourself on camera. Be your natural self. Don't put on a show.
Absolutely, man. Like, it's funny because like when the cameras come on, it's people think that they're doing like a Hollywood film, like they change. Like, don't put on a facade. Like it's gonna happen. It's all good. Not everybody's so great on camera at first, right? Like, man, I could look back at some of my old stuff when I was like shooting stuff for my course, right? And it's so silly. It's almost cringe. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that was me. But like, no matter what though, always stay true to yourself and be authentic and just come off how you be talking to your friends. or somebody, that you even respect if you're trying to be like an authoritative figure. But don't get all polished up. Like if you don't usually stand like this, like you're from like, Great Britain, like from back in the day, right, in the photos, don't do it. Like just be casual, be you. And that's what's going to attract the right people that you actually want to work with.
Yeah, and that's so true, because when I started filming, I worked with a content coach, and it was good. It got me eyeballs, but a lot of it like steered me down the wrong direction. Like it wasn't, well, it got me like eyeballs from people that wanted pilot advice. And I'm like, whoa, this isn't like what I was thinking. And then it steered me into a pilot community that literally loses money, but it's good for the soul. I love helping people. Yeah. And I've got some criticism from people in the industry that are like, oh, you shouldn't be charging money for that. And I'm like, well, I get 500. If I throw a video goes viral, I'll get 500 DMs a day from pilots asking for advice because there's not enough out there. But then on the other side, CEOs of large aviation companies like, dude, you're changing the industry. I love what you're doing. Cool. So who do you think I'm going to listen to? Something like a lower time pilot guy that I used to respect, or a CEO of a giant aviation company? Yeah. I'm going to listen to the big CEOs. So I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. But what I mean by that is like I'm doing content to tell people, hey, you can have a W-2 job. You should invest your money in real estate, because guess what? That's what these rich people do that I fly their private jets. Mm-hmm. I want to be in the back of a private jet. Yep. Like, who doesn't? So instead of me just coaching pilots, even though I do that because it doesn't take a lot of effort from my brain, and I believe it's good, and I get these messages saying, hey, I went to your conference and I got a job. It changed my life. Those are awesome. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, hey, now take your money from that pilot job, invest it in real estate, start now, because in 10 years, your life will change. Because guess what? My life changed, and anyone can do it. So I want my content now to show that.
Well, you do a really good job at providing value and solving problems for people. I shot the conference. I saw the testimonials. People are like, man, I can't believe everything I learned here. Like, this is crazy. It's because you are focused on giving people what they need and also helping give them direction. If anybody's going to create content, man, if they have something to offer, like maybe it's a service or a product or whatever, what problem are you solving? And communicate that. Like it really is pretty simple. You don't have to get bogged down in like how do I make it the most graphic and animated and entertaining? Like just solve problems. It's what you do with your community. It's what you're doing through FlexSpace and everything else. It's like you're just solving problems for people who need that.
Yeah, and the people that are gonna buy your product or do business with you, it's gonna take a little bit of time, but you're gonna develop trust. Yeah. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. Yep. That is exactly who I do business. Mm-hmm. I fly for billionaires, mostly billionaires, that I know, like, and trust. Yeah. If I go fly an airplane and the guy's rude or a dick or it doesn't respect me, I'm not like, oh, hey, I got to be held high. I got to be respect. No, like, respect me as a person and a professional. Don't tell me to fly into some tornado weather when I tell you, hey, the weather's bad. We got to delay 2 hours. Right. I will never fly for that person again. Yeah. Meaning I won't do business with them. Mm-hmm. So if a business or a person is going to put out content, just be yourself. Mm-hmm. Put out some value, mostly education. Yeah. Educate on a product that you're selling. Don't even pitch it. Yeah. Just sell it. My content is, hey, these are some of the steps that you can do to invest in real estate yourself. And if you don't have time and you don't want to risk it, come invest with a company like me where we have multiple different partners, that are experts in their field. And if I'm not like when I started in FlexSpace, I was not a FlexSpace expert. Yeah. But I had so many other deals that led me up to the industry for industrial commercial real estate. And guess what? I found a broker who's an expert in FlexSpace. Mm-hmm. So I just think you need to believe in yourself, build trust with people around you. Those are the people you're going to do business with.
Yeah. With social media too, man, it's so easy to send a DM and just start a conversation. That's one thing most people get wrong, actually, is they put out a bunch of content and they want to attract people, right? They're like, I want to attract my ideal audience. It's like, yeah, there's ways to do that. But if you're not actually spending time engaging and having conversations with people, it's really hard. It's a longer process to build trust because there's not that human element in it. Like that's one of the biggest flaws of social media is like, it's harder to have that human element versus us being in person chatting and stuff like that. So it's like if anybody's trying to do something on social media, spend 15 minutes a day actually liking, commenting on other people's posts. It really is that simple, and it's what most people get wrong. It's what they stop doing. It's because they're so busy. It's like if you literally engage in new accounts or people that could, let's say you have a product or a service, if you go engage in somebody that is an ideal fit for your product or service, just go comment, give them some authentic input on their pages, or if they did something cool like a trip, say, hey, that was rad, man. What else did you do? Like, start a conversation. That builds trust right there.
Yeah. And I agree. And I think like with AI also changing where, okay, content takes a lot of time. Yeah. I will admit that, right? It does. And I don't have a ton of time for it, but I do make it somewhat of a priority for like, let's just say my month. 20% of my month should be used on content, whether it's podcasts, working with you as a video guy. We shoot 2 times a month on average for a half a day. Yeah. And we shoot as much as we can, and it's fatiguing. And the more prep you can do before that day, the more you can get done. So it's not like every day you have to do content, but it is like, hey, make sure you have some video editors or work with someone like you that can show up to a shoot and go, I got 20 ideas, and I know for me, I like to have some of my own ideas too, and then we wing some of it. And then you get a lot of good B-roll out of it and whatnot. So I think people overthink content. Yeah. I think they should work with someone that's done it before, spend a little bit of money because it is a shortcut to putting out good content.
Well, when we first started chatting, like actually shooting more, it was the implementation because people are busy. You got a family, you got a job. Most people have families and jobs, right? And having the time to do it all yourself is just too much, right? For you, it's like, I get it. I got ideas. Let's implement it, or let's put these to work. And then we just come up with solutions to actually post it, still get it up without having to take more time away from your day. That's where a lot of people complicate is they think every day I have to come up with a new idea, where if you can batch create, do a bunch of things with strategy and intention on what type of content you want to do, then just solve the problem of, hey, how do I get this posted with taking minimal time, right? Yeah. Implementation is where most people drop the ball.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of it comes down to, having a plan. And if you try and wing it by yourself, and I did that for a little bit when I was like between coaches, I guess you would say, or between working with someone. Yeah. I was doing it myself. And honestly, if you look back at my page, I was posting like once or twice a week. Yeah. I was focused on the business, focused on family, and then content kind of took a back seat. Now content's in the front seat. I probably spend 30% of my month on content. Number one, I'm getting better at it. Number two, I'm seeing results. I'm seeing a lot of investors come in, through the deals that we're raising money for. Yeah. Because I'm really just putting out educational stuff. And I have investors literally, I'll throw out a deck. They're like, hey, I heard you have a new deal through an email that we have. And it's like, yeah, here's our presentation on the deal. Here's the numbers, the breakdown. They literally send a wire before even signing the documents. And I'm like, I'm good with that. The documents go to the attorney. The money is important to close the deal. Yeah. I get that because of trust built, phone calls, emails, whatever it needs, because I'm building relationships. Yeah. So every investor I've ever had is continued to put in their money on the next deal and roll it over. Yeah. So this current deal that we're building right now, about to break ground on, let's say it closes in a year. I hope that I performed well, or we did as a team, and that they all roll into the next deal. And that's what building a brand and content can do for a business. I don't sell a product. My product is making investors money. Yeah. It's a product. We build real estate and sell it. That's our product. Yeah. But it's like, hey, we can make you some life-changing money. But you have to develop trust, and you do that through content. Or you do it in person, right? You build a relationship in person, but you only have so many hours in the day. Yeah. And you can reach way more people through content.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, imagine how many hours you have to spend to meet as many people as you do. You post one video, gets 50, 60,000 views. That's 50, 60,000 people.
I've seen a post where a couple like big coaches have posted, okay, here's you speaking in a room of 50 people, and it's a photo of you and 50 people. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Here's you speaking in front of 2,000 people. Like, wow, that's a big conference or whatever. Here's you and 10,000 people. Now correlate that to views on a reel or a post.
Right.
Holy crap. How can you see 100,000 people a week? You can do that through content if you're putting out decent stuff.
Exactly. The good thing about you, man, or what I really like about working with you, is the way you are in content is the way you are in real life. Like we talked about authenticity and stuff like that. So when people see you from either content that you posted that went viral or it was really good and educational, sometimes educational doesn't go viral. It's serving a different purpose, right? Some can, but like no matter what the content that you put out, that's how you are in person. So you are building your reputation and your brand online. Then when people either send you a DM and then get on a Zoom call or something like that, what they saw online is exactly what they're getting on the phone.
I agree. And it's something that's how I want to live my life, period.
Yeah.
Not like I'm not ever going to put on a show. I'm not going to be the guy posting a Lamborghini in content unless I'm making fun of, people out there, but I don't have time for that. I got friends that have Lamborghinis. My buddy's going to bring one like next week. Yeah, I want to check it out. I ain't going to do a bunch of content on it because I don't think that's not my real life. You know what I mean?
You stay humble too, man.
Agreed. Yeah. But that's why also people come and invest with me and my partners is like, hey, we're just normal people that work our butts off and we know our numbers. We have the right team, and that's a big deal to me. But I want to be respectful of your time. So I think we got a lot of good information there on content and mindset and everything. One thing I got two questions for you so we can wrap up.
Okay.
First question is, anyone listening right now that is, maybe they've posted a couple things on social media, they're really kind of nervous about it and they're not that confident. What's your one piece of advice that someone's like on the fence of like, man, I really should be posting content for my brand or my business? What's your one piece of advice that they could take away from here?
Create a video today. Come up with an idea. Just create it. Just get the ball rolling because everything gets better once that thing is rolling.
I think it's a good piece of advice because it doesn't have to be perfect.
No.
Put the video out. Tomorrow, make another one. Make it better. You're going to get better through reps.
Yeah. It really is that simple, man. It's like everybody, every athlete, every person that's worked a job, things get better as time goes on and you get more experience. It's the same thing with videos. Just do something.
Yeah.
Don't wait. Just do one.
It's never going to be a good time. I've always been busy. I wanted to launch this podcast last year. I'm like, I don't have the capacity. I barely have the capacity right now, but guess what? It was time. I'm just going to do it. I've been figuring this out on my own really right now. I have a couple different people helping me, but it's like, wow, I need to get the SOP down to make this easier. Just from lining up guests takes emails and back and forth, and then making sure the guys are here to record the video, getting the guest here and getting them the information. And then I don't structure the podcast too much, but it's like, I want to make sure I got a couple questions where listeners take away. It's not me talking. You know what I mean?
The important thing is you're taking action though, man.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm just going to go for it and we'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah. I think people shouldn't be scared to take action. They just got to do it. And that's what makes the difference between someone that's going to find success and someone that's just going to live in regret and go, man, I could have done that.
So true.
I don't want to be that person. I want to be, hey, it's time for a podcast. I think I'd be good at it. I like connecting with people. Let's do it.
Right.
And I finally did it. And here I am, though. Every week I'm putting out an episode no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's I'm thankful that I could text you last night because you live local. Like, hey, I really want you on. Can we do it tomorrow morning? And it's like, we just scheduled last night. That's last minute. But I got to be consistent so that this podcast can come out in 2 weeks because I'm leaving again. So
you set a standard, man.
Yeah.
This is what it's going to be. I'm going to figure it out. I don't need all the answers. I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah. And I think the biggest takeaway for listeners, just go for it.
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose, and that's a big deal. So the last question is, I like to read. I know you do as well. What are more than just one, what are two good books that you think listeners should read that have made an impact on your life?
Yeah. So the two that have made the biggest impact, and I read them back when I was 22, getting my life together. One was The Difference Maker by John C. Maxwell. Wrote the best books on leadership. the attitude has made the biggest difference in my life, changing my attitude. So The Difference Maker by John C. Maxwell. It's a short read. And then Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Not because it gives you all the answers in today's world. It is very applicable though, right? Like financial literacy, understanding that, you know, the cash flow quadrant, all that stuff. The fundamentals in that book also changed the path from me being a worker to being, hey, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm going to build something much, much bigger than just having a day job. And that's fine. But that changed my mindset around money.
Yeah. So I read that book in 2004. My roommate, Kendrick, said, you should read this. I just read it.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, it changed my life as well as a lot of others.
Yeah.
It maybe took me multiple years to put it into place, but I was
Me too.
on the trajectory. And that book did change my life. Mindset on Money. I think everyone needs to read it. I actually buy that book as a gift for like my brother, my dad, my mom, and it has helped some of them. But I bought that book as a gift for several people. So you guys heard it. If you haven't read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, both and I can both say you have to read it. Like, do not skip on that book specifically. I haven't read the John Maxwell one. He's a great speaker. So honestly, The Difference Maker is what it was called.
Yep.
I'm going to put that down below in the episode story so you guys can find the book. But thanks for sharing that. And we'll wrap it up for today. Thanks so much for sharing the wisdom and connecting more on mindset and how people should just go for it. Because I like your story. I think our stories are similar in the fact that, man, we're just going for it and building our own thing, you know? And I know for me, I want to go travel on my own time, not necessarily this rich person's time, you know? So I'm building a business just as you are, and I really appreciate working together. And you do so much for the people even that I refer you out. You know, it's you were a referral to me from Greg, and I've given you clients because I say Beau actually cares about his product. So if you guys want to find more about Beau, I'm going to tag his Instagram. What if someone wants to work with you and see your work besides your Instagram? I'll leave it down below. But where else could they find you?
I would say just reach out on Instagram. You know, it's consolidated. It's a one-stop shop. We can have a conversation. I'd say just literally message me on Instagram.
Perfect. You guys heard it. So reach out to Beau on his Instagram, and everything you see me post, all the videos, that's going to be Beau behind the camera and helping me put together the content. So thanks for coming out, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.